Namaskar and good morning to everyone. I started my learning and practicing acupuncture when I was posted to Military Hospital Wellington in Tamil Nadu way back in 79 as a captain. Since then, I am practicing acupuncture and acupressure as a hobby. During my various postings, I managed to help patients with asthma, backache and sciatica, psoriasis, frozen shoulder, menorrhagia, cervical spondylosis, knee arthritis, migraine, and most of all, cancer pain, which I did continued work at Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Institute. My experiences over these several years has been quite gratifying. And during this lockdown period that I thought of disseminating this knowledge on YouTube as self-help acupressure. The presentations which I made, they would be useful to both medicos and laypersons. Moreover, in the literature I see, the science of acupuncture and yoga are now being studied extensively and will definitely widen your horizon of yoga. Acupressure is supposed to be a perfect complement to yoga as it seeks to alleviate pain and tension, increases circulation, and enhances relaxation. Certain yoga postures or asanas definitely compress acupuncture points during their performance and must be definitely helping indirectly. Most of you are accomplished in yoga and would possibly be able to correlate acupressure and yoga during the course of this lecture. Are many of you aware that jewelry we wear has a significant role in our daily lives based on acupuncture remedies? Now, the practice of wearing jewelry in Indian culture was designed with a special purpose in mind. Piercing the ear for earrings helps in prevention of asthma and menstrual irregularity. Bichwa and the nose rings we wear at the time of marriage are for better fertility and for sinus problems. Again, the bindi and tika, which we apply, the ladies apply after marriage, keeps one composed. Then tight necklaces around the neck are maintained for good thyroid function. Rings in the ring finger for creation of romantic emotions. Wrist bangles and arm bracelets for keeping blood pressure under control. Waistbands for digestion. Anklets, piles for healthy genitourinary system and backache. Interestingly also, you will find sailors from ancient times have been putting a marble on their wrist, with a wristband. And that is there for the purpose of preventing seasickness. So that's a pressure point on the prevention of nausea, vomiting. I will come on to that later. Now, is it not amazing that a needle pierced on the foot improves the function of a liver? It looks little ridiculous. And a needle stuck in the leg straightens up a stiff neck. And then a needle on the dorsum of the hand is like taking a tablet paracetamol for a headache or toothache. And needle putting on the skull, you can put a needle here during acupuncture. And it is just like Valium, that means the injection diazepam, puts you to sleep. Needle put in the suprasternal notch just above the breastbone. In this location, it acts like derifylin. So now let's briefly discuss what acupuncture therapy is all about. Acupuncture is literally piercing the body with needles at specific points to cure illnesses. Now, the human body is crossed by energetic currents flowing in specific paths, in channels, vertically up and down. These meridians are linked to various organs of the body and are named after them. There are 12 important organs have been defined, and therefore 12 meridians exist in the body. The flow of current follows a fixed sequence on these meridians, and it is based on the charge of the meridians, positive and negative. So you can put like a series of batteries, one battery is one channel, a series of batteries in a circle, and then the current will flow. There are two other channels, one in the midline in front and one in the back. These two channels are supposed to be controlling the other rest of the 12 channels. So now what is acupressure? The principles of acupuncture therapy apply to acupressure. Application of pressure on these acupuncture points serves like a needle in acupuncture. So essentially, it is basically acupuncture without needles. That is, acupressure is acupuncture minus needles. Acupuncture points on the face, hands, and feet are easily accessible by oneself. We can easily put our hands everywhere. So there are certain remedies which we can ourselves treat. So that is called self-help acupressure. And I will try to devote myself on this aspect. Self-help acupressure would be a home treatment for common symptoms and ailments like fatigue, insomnia, headache, feverishness, nausea, dizziness, upset stomach, acidity, indigestion. These sort of terminologies, vague terminologies which come, they can all be addressed by acupressure. Now you are all conversant with warming up exercises during yoga or Suksham Kriya. So similarly, to rejuvenate, revitalize, or refresh ourselves, certain points on the face, fingers, and toes need stimulation. These are ideal when you get up in the morning and before getting out of bed. So there are times, when you feel excessively sleepy, drowsy, fatigued, and with low esteem. Then follow me on this facial stimulation plan, which I'll be telling you, and apply pressure 7 seconds at each point. This can be completed in less than 2 minutes, and you can then start your day with a smile. So now let us all together do this shotgun therapy, and you just follow me, and I will just try to explain. So after getting up in the morning, warm your hands by rubbing them. I think all of you can rub your hands for 7 seconds. Then slide them over the face for 7 seconds. Now we will address the first point, or the stimulation of the brain, by pinching the bridge of the nose like this for 7 seconds. And you can count like Amarjit ji. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So after stimulating the brain, we just further stimulate the brain through the eyes, eye points, because the eyes are connected to the brain. So you hold your eyelids with both, with your finger, pinch your eyelids, and then pull them up and down 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now this will augment your brain stimulation. The next point is to stimulate your gallbladder. Now you must understand the margin, this eye orbital margin. This is the orbital margin. On the lateral side, if you press, you will be stimulating your gallbladder from here. Actually, there are 6 hollow organs and their points are terminating on the face. So if you stimulate these 6 points, 6, 7 points, these channels, you will be stimulating all these organs. So this is the gallbladder channel on the lateral aspect of the orbit. You can do it by a rotating motion or by simply pressure. Count 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, the next point to be stimulated is the stomach channel, which originates at the orbit lower margin. Again, count 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you stimulate the urinary bladder channel, which is on the inner margin of the orbit. And count 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The next channel to be stimulated is the large intestine, which is located on the lateral side of the nostrils here, these 2 points. And here you can do it by a rotatory motion or by simply pressing, by a thrust. So here again we will count 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The next point to be stimulated is the midpoint of the upper lip. Now this point is very interesting because this helps in arousal. I have used this point many times during anesthesia to arouse a patient after anesthesia by just simply pressing here. And then I found it in the textbooks of anesthesia. It is also mentioned to press here. Not now, it was mentioned about 15, 20 years back, or maybe 40 years back. People used to be doing this after ether anesthesia by pressing this point. Here again, we should press this point because in the early morning, we get aroused. So this point helps in arousal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The next point is located below the lip and the chin in the midline. This is the conception vessel point or the sex channel. This point also needs to be stimulated because of the sexual hormones to be liberated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, the next points, there are a number of points of stomach on the mandible or the jawbone with 4 fingertips press on both sides of the jaw, like this. Now, this point not only stimulates your stomach channel, but it also helps in prevention of any toothache which you are having, which you may have. It supplements the healing of tooth pain. So you can press here both sides till 7. Now these points here I have used by acupuncture for extraction of teeth, without local anesthetic, and they have worked. The next important point to be mentioned is that in front of the tragus, in front of both sides, these 2 areas. This point is actually called a triple warmer point. This is meant for thermoregulation. And patients who have fever or, hypothermia, if you do these procedure, slide your fingers up and down, your temperature will trying to become constant. So children who are febrile or if you are having fever, you can use this point by continuously doing this procedure. This is meant for thermoregulation. The next points are on the ear. And the ear is a very interesting appendage of the body. If you find it is just like a in the womb. And the 365 points which are mentioned about acupuncture points on the body, all are represented on the ear. So, if you happen to stimulate the ear, you can possibly be stimulating all the points simultaneously. So, there are simple procedures for that also. First is pulling the ear down for 7 seconds. 1, 2, with the ear lobule, just pull it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then pull it upwards, your pinna. You hold the pinna and pull it upwards. And count 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then bend your pinna forward on each other, like this. And then do tapping with the finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you see that I have stimulated the ear points. And if you remember, our teachers, our parents, whenever you did something wrong, they used to catch hold of your ear. I don't know how they were managing, I think by pulling the ear or something, they were keeping you under control. Then there are two additional points, One is in the hollow on the base of the skull. If you go behind, as the skull empties, in the center is a hollow. That point, if you press with both the thumbs inside, that is supposed to be stimulating the brain stem, So the brain stem, if it is stimulated, it keeps under control your cardiovascular and the heart regulation and the lung regulation, breathing. Heart and lung synchrony is maintained by this. And the last point, which on the facial region, is if you see the mastoid bone at the back, where the neck muscles are getting attached to the skull. You can feel the neck muscles attaching to the skull, both your hands. You press both of these two, and you will find that your neck muscles will relax. So this is, you will find a good relaxation of the portion above the neck. So now we have completed almost 17 points, 17 points including rubbing the hands. I'll try to recap again. Rubbing, then face, then bridge of the nose, then lateral part of the orbit, middle part of the orbit, lower down, medial side of the orbit. Before that, I forgot the ears, the eyebrows, eyelids, then the sides of the nose, then upper lip, lower lip, jaws, in front of the tragus, the ears pulling up, bending, hollow of the base of the skull, and the strap muscles, the neck muscles. So you would have completed this procedure in less than 2 minutes. So when getting up in the morning, you do this 2 minutes, and then you find you'll get up with a smile. And maybe before yoga, when you come, you will still be refreshed. So now we will move on to the next portion, is the hands and fingers. There are simple procedures for this. Each finger at the base of the nail, if you compress like this, you compress all the fingers. From little finger you start, then the ring finger, middle finger with the other two fingers. You will be stimulating all the channels which are connecting at the level of the fingers. You see the three channels, positive channels come to the fingers, and the three negative channels from the fingers, they leave up on the arm and go to the head. So the point of communication of these two channels, they take place at the fingertips. So just by pressing these fingernails here, you are tending to stimulate them. The next portion of stimulation implies if you bend your finger like this. Can you see? Yes. Now you press it and leave it in like a spring, like this. Do like this. All these fingers like this. Like this way. This is just like compressing, if you have a water pipe and you pinch it and then suddenly release it, you will find the flow of water suddenly increases. It is like pinching a hose and releasing it. Same thing we are trying to do with the fingers here. You are allowing the little bit pressure to build up and then releasing it, so the flow in the channels takes place faster. The same thing can further be exaggerated by pressing the finger like this. Each finger you press like this and press it. Keep all the joints of the finger straight and press at the metacarpophalangeal joint like this way. You'll find sometimes cracking takes place. That's a good sign. Yeah, I got a crack just now. This. So this sort of activity helps in stimulating the flow of energy in the upper limb. Now I will try to tell you certain specific points on the palm and hands, because they are of utility not from the therapeutic value, but they have diagnostic value also, which I will try to explain. These on each acupuncture point, on mild pressure, suppose this is an acupuncture point, on mild pressure, if I have pain, that means the channel is underactive. If on deep pressure, if I have pain, that means the channel is overactive. And if I don't have any pain on that point, that means the channel is running normally. So it's got a diagnostic point also. It's like the heart point is here, which it is located between the fourth and fifth finger. If you come down, the metacarpal bone here and metacarpal bone here, where they join, it is generally where the upper crease is there of the upper transverse crease. In the center of that, below the fourth and fifth fingers, somewhere here. Now, if this point, if I mildly press it and there's pain, that indicates that the channel is underactive. That means your heart is not working to its full capacity. If I press it and I get the pain, that means the heart is overactive and it is getting stressed. And if there's no pain, that means my heart is healthy. So to keep a healthy heart, anyway, you should be pressing this point for 7 seconds, and you can press it anytime. You can keep on pressing this 5-6 times in a day, whenever you are free or just not doing anything. It will be helping to stimulate your heart. Remember, there are many times if a patient experiences some, chest discomfort or angina type pain, if you press here, you may be able to relieve the pain of the patient. So this is the hard point, and it is very effective. This point, again, I will recap. On the upper transverse crease, you go from the web down, vertically down, and it will be on that point. Yes. So you can use either hand for stimulation of the stimulating the heart point. Or as a matter of fact, any points are bilaterally represented, so you can stimulate any point on either leg. Suppose you have an amputated patient, leg is amputated, and he has problem on somewhere on the right side. You can use the left leg to treat his problem. The next important point here is, which I told you about the sailors, and this, if you notice, the transverse crease is here, and 3 finger breadths above that, at this point, is the point which is used for nausea and vomiting. This point is very effective for patients who have any digestive complaints. It is useful for morning sickness during pregnancy. It is useful for seasickness or travel sickness. It is used for post-operative nausea, vomiting after operations. We have used this point very frequently. So this is a very interesting point, and one should be able to do it. Even slightest nausea you have, even it is used in migraine, because people have vertigo and then dizziness and tendency to vomit. So this point is used in migraine also. The next important point on the palm is pertaining to the respiratory system or the lung. From the thumb, the metacarpal bone of the thumb, this one, the vertical bone on its medial side, on this side, you will find, if you press, you will be able to stimulate the lung. So any patient having respiratory problems, breathlessness, or cough, or even coryza, or anything pertaining to the upper respiratory tract, if cough, you can use this for treating those ailments. I can show it on this side also. It is here on this palm, and on this it is here. So these 2 points are very important. Now I will try to do a further sharing of the presentation, which will be on slides, because that is pertaining to the feet and legs. So it will be easier to show in that. Okay. So now this is a part of the upper hand also. This point is very essential for any management of pain in any part of the body. It is the universal analgesic point. On the part of the screen, you will see a needle is being is inserted at the acupuncture point here in the web between the thumb and the first finger. This point is being stimulated here by acupressure, the same point. I would definitely say, if I have headache, I will take the needle. But many of you may not accept the needle. But for self-help, it's better to do this procedure by pressing the point with your thumb. Now, if you see, this is the point, and you can press it with your thumb, rotate it with your thumb in a rotating manner. Now, there's a small story to this point, When I was in Gurgaon, at one time, I had been traveling, I was belonged to Rewari. On the way, I found a person about, this is about 40 years or 50 years before, a person or yogi Baba was, he had a long queue in front of his shop, and people, everyone he was pressing this point for any ailment they were coming for. And I was just wondering, what is this person trying to do? Then someone is telling that he is treating everyone for pains and aches and all. But the point is same for everyone. I was just wondering what he's doing. This point and another point I will show. These 2 points he was using in all the patients, and people were getting relieved. So I was little taken aback. But then later on, when I just forgot about the episode. But when I started learning acupuncture and acupressure, then I realized that this gentleman was using this point to treat so many patients. And it's such a simple procedure which any of you can do it. Anyone can do it on himself or to your family. Now, in my family, no one is taking any analgesics and paracetamol and all that. This is equivalent to taking one Brufen, applying pressure here and stimulating for about 8 to 10 seconds, and then repeating it 3 to 4 times, you will find that you need not take paracetamol or Brufen. So this is actually, the name of this point is Hegu, and it is a very useful point, and it can be used for any analgesic effect, maybe a toothache, earache, sinus ache, or you have uh, neck ache, shoulder pain, any pain, even the knee pain or hip pain, anywhere. But in those pains, we have to supplement with other points. But generally, this point will be effective for any pain. And the other pain I will be showing, other point I will for pain I will be showing you also. Now, this is when we talk of rejuvenation of the meridians, we talked of the face, we talked of the fingers, now we come to the toes. Now, Amarjit ji in a Suksham Kriya, she has all been telling, Panje kholo, modo, panje kholo, modo. She's actually implying on this. But, this is a very passive, it's very difficult to do an active movement without this movement. It's very difficult to move your toes up and down. So here, if you manually do it up and down, bend your toes up and down, it will be a good idea for stimulating your channels which are reaching the toes. So as I told you, again, your 3 channels are reaching the toes and then coming up, and they communicate at the level of the toes. So here also, you should be bending 7, 8 times up and down on both the toes. Then as in the fingers, we have just done at the nail beds, just above the nail beds. Here also, the channels are there. And the important channel is the 2 channels, spleen and liver. Both get stimulated if we stimulate the points just above the nail bed, as shown in the figure here. Then again, digging your fingers on the heel, if you see. Dig 4 fingers deeply on the heel, and you will find that you will get relieved of knee stiffness and backache. This point is also present in the middle of the sole. In fact, it is the anterior 1/3 and posterior 2/3 of the sole. It is at that level. This point is very important for minimizing kidney dysfunction. So many people who have kidney disorders, if you press these areas, you will find the blood urea level and creatinine level may be improving. This is the point which I told the Babaji was using also there. And this helps again in prevention of spasms in the calves. We always, many times when you get up in the morning, you find spasm in the calf, or even after swimming, you find spasms in the calf. You put your pinch your tendoachilles tendon here at the back of the heel, and you will find relief. It is also useful for backache. This is an important point which I'm showing in the web between the toe and the first finger. Now this toe, and stimulation of this point, people have been done a lot of researches on this point, which is liver 2. And putting a needle here or pressing here will decrease the serum bilirubin level in jaundice patients. This has been proved. So it is a good point for people having liver disorders. This is another point between the first and second toes in the web of the first and second toes. And this point is very effective also for pain disorders, especially below umbilicus. All the pains in the lower half of the body, it helps in that. It also helps for migraine, mind you. It will also help for trigeminal neuralgia in all these sorts of procedures. But it is a good point for that. It is a stomach point, and it helps for stomach disorders also. This point is important for all universal, or you can call it a universal point for stomach or digestive disorders. This point is located 4 breaths below the knee joint and 1 finger breadth lateral to the tibial crest. You will find it here. And by rotatory motion or pressure here for 7 to 10 seconds always helps in these procedures. If someone has acidity, if someone has dyspepsia, if someone has tendency for vomiting or abdominal spasms, it is useful. In fact, any patient having any abdominal pain, this point can be used. This point is again interesting because it is used for all joints, bone, tendons, disorders. And it is located, in the leg, on the lateral bone, which we find that the leg has 2 bones, the tibia and the fibula. You can feel the fibula head on the lateral side, and just a depression in front of that, if you press, you will be able to treat all disorders pertaining to bone, joints, and muscles. On the medial side of the leg, below the ankle, 4 fingers above the ankle, you will find this point, spleen 6, which is behind the shin bone. And this point has 4 important communications with the kidney, liver, spleen, and this point is very useful for hemostasis. That means it is good for patients with hypertension. It helps to lower blood pressure. It is a vascular homeostasis point. Any pain originating from the kidney, liver, or spleen can be tackled by utilizing this point. Acidity is a very common problem, and pressure between the umbilicus and the breastbone in the midline. If you press this point, you will be relieved of acidity. You will have, and your digestive indigestion. This point, in prone position yogas, this point is being stimulated. Now, just to remind you, someone had asked me about migraine. We can, with a simple points, here the points on the face, hands, and feet are being utilized for management of migraine headache. In fact, there are many disorders, like the shoulder pain, cervical spondylosis, hip pain, sciatica. The multiple points have to be used for them. But simple remedies, a single point is generally okay. So a Babaji point, you should not forget. That is a very interesting point. Now, before I conclude this session, I would like to tell you that these 12 channels work with 2 hours maximal activity for 2 hours in 24 hours. So that means they work in a sequence. The lung between 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., the large intestine from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. because we have to do the call of nature. Then from 7 to 9 a.m., we break our fast. And then accordingly, the spleen, heart, small intestine, bladder, kidney, and the rest of the channels work in time. So if we start our time early, that means at 3 to 5 a.m. in the morning, get up early in the morning and correct time. And Amarjit ji stresses on that to get up early in the morning, start your day early, then all the channels will work properly. That means everything will work in unison. Another thing is if you have a problem, say, of pertaining to gallbladder, then the gallbladder channel you should use it between 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. so that get the maximum stimulation of the gallbladder. This is, by the way, I'm telling you, you can do it anytime, but this is this cycle, a body meridian clock, which is we should follow, and we should do it in time so that we won't suffer any illness. Now I think I'm at the end of my talk. I try to, minimize the number of slides and, making it too complex, the whole situation, because it's very difficult to memorize the channels and the numbers and acupuncture points, because each channel has got so many points and they are serially numbered. So if I say gallbladder 36 or GB 40 or liver 26, it's all Greek. So it's better just to show the points, and then subsequently, if anyone is interested, I can advise them or something, and they can go through literature if they want. That is all. Thank you very much for your patient hearing, everyone.